Hi, good evening. Hopefully this isn't too loud. How's everyone doing? Alistair, I'll just whack in straight away then with what you've just suggested. I'm fading out. There we go. First of all, captain choice, Mane or Sterling. If it's definitely between those two, I think that's really tough already. Straight in with a difficult question. I think you've still got to go Sterling. It's only a matter of time before it comes true. Kevin De Bruyne should be back. Maybe that'll help him as well. Mane against United. Liverpool in general. I believe Klopp has never won at Manchester, at Old Trafford yet. Of course, a stat like that isn't very useful because obviously times change. Hi Michael, how are you doing? Stats like that change all the time. But hi Chris, how's it? Good evening. Evening from my point of view. Hey Rooster Booster, nice to see you again. So for me, I don't know. Sterling has let us all down. Okay, so this is game week 9 and 8 for 8 so far. I have not made the best captaincy choice. And I always say this every week, I stand by the decisions that I have made because I feel that, the decisions I made have not been crazy. I've sort of captain Salah or Sterling. And as you can see, and as Chris is just putting there, Wilson versus Abraham Hampton, you're going for Wilson. Such a choice. Look at my team. They are the two transfers that I made. It was Firmino and Pukki out for Wilson and Abraham. Now, I'm not actually suggesting that Pukki's not going to do anything this weekend. I actually think he could do something this weekend. But the reason I took him out is because this week Wilson has been solid. I mean, he's blanked once against Arsenal. But it's not just that he's playing Norwich this weekend and Pukki's got Bournemouth. So both have got a chance for getting some returns there. But then Wilson faces a Watford defence next week. And they're the two worst defences in the league. And I thought, this isn't just a 1 week punt with Wilson. It's one that I'm going to bring for a few weeks. I think it's United after that. Let me just double check. Yeah, United, then Newcastle and Wolves. So if I want to ship him out in the future, that's fine. But for me, Pukki, if I was going to hold him, it would have been for this last game. But then bring Wilson in, and then he's going to play against Norwich, Watford, and then even United. Of course, he can score Newcastle away. So I wanted him for these 4 games. So I don't think Pukki's done. I think if you've got him for this game week, it's not the end of the world. He could definitely get an attacking return against that Bournemouth defence, who are right up there with expected goals conceded and things like that. I'm not a big fan of expected goals conceded, but they do concede a lot of big chances, and that is an important stat. Now, a lot of people are going for an Abraham captaincy, and again, he's my vice captain, as you can see. Something that's putting me off about Wilson, though, is that he had a sickness. Is he over that 100%? I'm going to wait for all the press conferences and make sure, he's really good to go. He did make an appearance for England. He came on, I think, as a late sub. But Eddie Howe is notorious for not, he's actually supposed to be worse than the likes of Pep Guardiola when it comes to press conferences. So he could come out and say, Wilson is, he's looking well. And that doesn't mean anything. So, at the minute, the reason why I want to do this is because I'm 1.7 million now. And if I captain Abraham with everyone else, I feel like Abraham and Wilson are going to get something. I just feel that Wilson could get 2 goals. Abraham might get 1. I mean, if they both score 2 goals, they get the same amount of points. So it doesn't matter who I captain. I just feel that maybe Wilson could get double digits. I don't know. But I'm trying to climb those ranks. So that's why I'm going to go for Wilson over Abraham. Cantwell and De Bruyne fully fit for... Kiffin, we're not 100% sure. We've seen pictures of them in training. And of course that is... it was actually a GIF for Manchester City with Aguero, De Bruyne and John Stones back in training. But, I'll wait to see. I was going to come back to that Kevin De Bruyne injury. I'm still not regretting, despite... I took KDB out for that last game because we knew he wasn't going to play and Mahrez was in great form. He did nothing. He came off. He got 1 point. I'm actually not that angry or sad or upset that I don't have De Bruyne, but I do still have Mahrez because let's not forget that De Bruyne was out injured. He didn't get dropped. He was injured and it's a strain. If it was... tiredness or sickness like it is with Wilson, you can get over it and get straight back in. but he's been out for a couple of weeks now. Is he going to come straight back in? He's got the quality, but is he going to come straight back in and be as good as he was before? Because we don't know to the extent. I believe when he came back in a game, it was against Tottenham Hotspur at home, and he was back from a longer term injury, a more serious injury, but he came back from an injury and he got injured again in the first half. Now, the only bad thing about Kevin De Bruyne is his injury record. If he can stay fit, he is a world-class player, but he does have this susceptible side of him to get injured a lot. So if he comes back and it's a strain, if it was an impact injury, you can get over that. But the fact that it's a pull, and he's notorious for getting these kind of pulls and strains and tears, that if I own KDB still, I'm missing for game week 1. I didn't take the punt on Mahrez. I've got him for this game week. I'd still be watching that Palace game thinking, don't overstretch too much, KDB kind of thing. So I'm not too worried. He's back. He was always penciled to come back in the next game week anyway. And as a non-KDB owner, I'm quite fine to have Mahrez and Sterling. Hopefully Mahrez will play. If not, that's fine. But to look at KDB against Palace and think, is he back to full fitness? Is he fully sharp? Has that groin issue definitely gone away? Because again, would any of us be surprised if we're watching the match and hear, Kevin De Bruyne's gone off injured after 40 minutes, he's not fully recovered. So I'm not completely against that idea of Mahrez. He's penciled back in. Future transfers, I'm so glad that people have been talking about this. My next week's transfers, it was going to be a -4, and it was going to be Mahrez, Sterling out for KDB and Mane. That might change to just KDB for Mahrez and keep Sterling for one more game week, because I think they've got Southampton at home next week. So Villa at home. And then Southampton at home, so I can hold on Mane, but my idea of a Mane Salah double, because Mane's he strikes the most fear in me. Ever since that game week 2 Southampton game when I was watching it, I watched the whole 90 minutes, and I've been watching the Liverpool games because I can choose, not living in the UK, I can choose any of the games to watch live on a Saturday when people in the UK can't watch that. And I always like to watch Liverpool games. And every single time I'm watching it, it's not because I don't own him. Even if I owned him, I'd be excited. It's like when I watch TAA, right? When I watch Alexander-Arnold, I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is exciting, or he's looking so good. So obviously when I don't have Mane, I fear that. I fear Mane more than any other player. If I don't have Sterling, I have Mane. I'm not scared of Sterling at all. Apart from that game week 1 route that he did, he's done almost nothing in the previous 7 game weeks. So it is. Let me just catch up with the chat for a second. Salah has a late fitness test, but at least you've got Rico to come in. Yeah, at least Rico for Salah. That's not the best, but I think Salah's going to be fine. He's been flying off doing GQ magazine and dressing up as the people from Moana, so I think he's going to be fine. I think it's just one of them where, Salah might not be fully fit, and then bam, comes in for the United game. Actually, when we think about it, is Luke Shaw still injured? I just want to check, because if Salah is coming up against Ashley Young, and there's no David De Gea, and there's no Paul Pogba for Manchester United. Let me just double check. Yeah, so Shaw's out, and there's some long-term injuries and Smalling out on loan. So Wan-Bissaka's a doubt, but that's fine. Wan-Bissaka will be on the side with Mane. So you've got Salah on the right, you've got left-back Ashley Young, no Pogba, no David De Gea. Could Salah actually be a differential captaincy pick this week? The only issue is, in the past, he's not done anything against Manchester United. I think it's 4 games he's played and he's blanked. But, I mean, Ashley Young, no De Gea, no Pogba. United have looked pretty shocking this year. Could Salah actually be the one week where I don't choose between Salah and Sterling and I go for Wilson or Abraham, and then bang, Salah gets a hat-trick at Old Trafford and it's like a 6-0 or one of those historic 6-1 matches where Liverpool win at Old Trafford. So could be a differential captaincy pick this week, because I think there'll be a lot of set and forget teams and zombie teams with Salah as captain, but actively I think people are looking to not go for Salah. I'd be surprised if he's in the top 5, top 3 at least, captaincy picks for this game week. Thoughts on Lucas Moura as a captain? Pulakash, the problem with Lucas Moura is we just don't know if he's going to play. There are so many issues at Spurs right now, but in terms of how many players that they've got to play, Dele Alli's coming back. I know they've mentioned that he's got a problem getting his form back up, but he's available for selection. I mean, just look at this massive on the right hand side. Let me just zoom in. Look at the massive list of. I can't even zoom in that much because we've got so many midfielders over here that. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to play. Son's back. You've got Lamella and Dombele's back now. Eriksen got a knock. Is he going to play? But it's a different position. He's usually out wide or up front. He's obviously not going to drop Harry Kane. So personally, I wouldn't put the captain on Lucas Moura this week. You've got no lesser attackers, Michael, and it's scary. I actually disagree. I know I don't have Vardy, and that's fine. Leicester have been good. They've got some good fixtures coming up. It is green on the FDR. I have got Sionchu, so if I just crack up the fixture list. So Burnley at home isn't easy. Burnley are not going to get thumped 5-0 like Newcastle did. Southampton away, they could get something there. Palace away, Palace don't have like the most or joint most clean sheets this season. So again, that's not going to be easy. Arsenal at home, not easy. Brighton away, maybe. Everton at home, Everton pretty decent. I don't know. I'm not as scared about not having Vardy or not having Maddison when I look at my midfield now. Not including Campbell because I can't get that price. If you said Maddison on Mount. If you said Maddison on Mahrez. Maddison or Sterling. Maybe Maddison over Mahrez, okay? And Salah or Maddison, I go Salah. So he actually wouldn't really fit in my side. If I was to put James Maddison in here, I'd have to lose Wilson or Abraham. And who am I more scared of right now? Maddison, Wilson or Abraham? Well, I'm not as bothered about Maddison. So maybe in the future, an idea would be still, like I said, Mane, Sterling to Mane, Mahrez to KDB, and that gives me enough money to go Callum Wilson to Jamie Vardy left over in the future. So if Bournemouth's fixtures turn around game week 14, or even if I'm not fancying the Wolves game, I can take out Wilson and put in Jamie Vardy. So it's not over for me. I'm not too worried for the next few game weeks. Oh, according to press conferences, sorry, Kiffy, I didn't know. Wilson wouldn't have played for England if he wasn't 100%. You think he would just play Solanke King up front in a must-win game like this? Oh, no, yeah, no, it was Chris. But is it a must-win game? Like, I'm Bournemouth like 5th or 6th in the league. I mean, every game is a must-win. But actually, I don't know if you guys saw this, but on my Twitter, I did a mini thread. If I find it at some point. Yeah, here it is. I'd actually, talking about Dominic Solanke, this was a little thread that I made this week about how I think that Dominic Solanke could be if you're playing 3 strikers, he could be your third choice, or if you're looking for a rotation with like Cantwell and a third striker, Dominic Solanke, 5.4 million. The points I made, he's played 90 minutes, 76 minutes, 90 minutes and 62 minutes. So he looks nailed next to Wilson. He's not done anything yet, but remember, in FPL, you don't get players after they've scored points. You try and get them before they've scored points. So it's when you combine the headed attempts and the shooting attempts for players under around or under 6 million, he's actually right near the top. 0.4% ownership. Bournemouth have got 2 really good fixtures coming up, so that was my proper differential shout for this game week. So you can see Connolly 4.5 million Brighton and Ayew 5.1 million. They're the only ones that have had more shooting attempts, not including headed attempts, because you combine them and Solanke's at the top. But Connolly's not nailed. He's played 154 minutes. And Ayew now has Man City, Arsenal, Leicester, Chelsea, Liverpool in the next 5 games for Crystal Palace. So that was just something extra that I'd thought about this week. Let me just catch up here. Who do I have? Aguero, Mane, De Bruyne, Aubameyang or Mount? Aubameyang, going with Arsenal, they're still inconsistent for me. And Sheffield United are not whipping boys. They're looking really solid at the back. It's an evening game. Probably not Aubameyang. Mane could do something really. I just think Liverpool are going to be like the fixture proof. I think that Liverpool, even against Man City, if it's a home game, always captainable. Aguero just had a car accident. Now, I believe he's 100% fine. He's had the international break to... but the car accident was, I think it was yesterday morning, or this morning? Yesterday morning. Anyway, recently, but he's supposed to be 100% fine. He was in training, no big issues. But I just feel Palace are Man City's bogey team. I don't think it's going to be 100% easy. I would actually go... Would I go Mane over Aguero? That's difficult. De Bruyne is probably the standout option, but again, is he going to... I mentioned earlier, is he going to come back in fit, or is he going to go off injured? Is he even going to start? Maybe Pep's going to guide him back in. So Mount could be a massive differential choice. At home to Newcastle, I'd lean towards Mane. Like I said, he gives me the biggest amount of fear of any Premier League player that I watch. Sadio Mane. He's just scary to watch right now. He probably goes for Orba, if not Aguero. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mentioned about why not Aubameyang. I just feel that Sheffield United is the team that frustrates playing teams like Arsenal. Wait, where do I live? Currently, I'm in Taiwan. I've been for the last 7 years. Senior captain Aguero, vice captain Aubameyang in case he's injured. They both have tough fixtures. Yeah, true. Or just depends how you want to play it. I always say play your own game. I've been really safe with captaincy picks, and it's massively cost me. I've stuck with Sterling and Salah instead of maybe an easier fixture or a player in form. And I'm not doing it now. I'm thinking, I know Wilson. Wilson just lets everyone down when they bring him in, I started the season with Callum Wilson. I took him out in game week 3 because I needed the funds to bring in KDB, which turned out to be worth it despite Wilson nicely ticking over. A stat that I put in the video for this week a few days ago was Wilson's right up there in terms of shot accuracy. So he might not have the most. I think he's had 8 attempts, but I think it's like 80% of them are converted, so he's right up there in terms of being deadly. I was listening to a couple of things online this week, and one of the points is like penalty area touches. That stat is actually useless because Salah gets a lot of final third and penalty area touches, but if you watch Salah play, because he's quite short, a little bit like Messi, right? When normal people would take 1 or 2 touches, they'll take 2 or 4 because they're short and they're knocking it around quickly. So Callum Wilson doesn't have a lot of penalty area touches, but when he touches the ball in penalty areas, it's a shot, and 80% of the time it's been a goal. And I don't want to have a player in my side that's got 100 penalty area touches and 1 goal all season. I want a striker to touch the ball maybe once for control and smash it with his second touch, right? So that's just a little bit of something extra. Hey, FPL Penguin, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. Thompson, yeah, Shaw's out. Yeah, I just checked that. United 0, Liverpool 2. I think that's a very, very fair shout. I think it could be even more. Without Pogba, without De Gea. A lot of people say, is it Romero that's the backup keeper? He's not terrible, but I mean, David De Gea has not exactly been in great form. But if Salah's fit, if Liverpool's got the squad, But the only thing is, in a game like that, like it's United, it's at Old Trafford, the fans are going to be really geared up for it. Maybe the players will be, geared up as well. Rashford's a local lad. Maybe that'll pump him up and give him a little bit of something extra. You got Jesse Lingard as well. That young English talent might be doing something. And yet, Bruce Boosie, right? Yeah, Taiwan flag. You think it's, but 2-0 I think is fair. I would even perhaps go more, maybe 3-0 or 3-1. Personally, you think Liverpool will win, but you don't think it'll be any worse than 2-0. So a lot of people are thinking 2-0. But so you think Liverpool's going to keep a clean sheet? Clean sheets have been like a special commodity so far. December, lots of game weeks crammed in. Yeah, did you guys see the news about Amazon moving the Boxing Day fixtures? It's rubbish for me anyway. I don't get Christmas off. So I'm working. But the good thing is I'm 7 hours ahead, so when the games kick off like 10 p.m. my time, I'm at home so I can stay up and watch it. It's not the worst, but yeah, I'll be working all that time. Thanks Chris. Yeah. The thing with the views and subs, I don't do promotion. I just put the stream on and hope people come in and talk FPL and football with me. So if you like it and subscribe, then that's great. If you don't, then it's completely up to you. I don't sell things or sell myself. I mean, if people come in and want to chat football, then that's great. Hopefully people enjoy that. I've been busy as well, though, because work, there's a couple of people being off again, as always. I'm having to cover classes all the time, and I'm shattered. I'm in actually tomorrow morning as well, because it's the school anniversary, but that's great because I get Monday off, because that's how they balance that out. Does FPL change their fixture difficulty as the season goes on? Yes. That's true. They do change their FDR on form. I think Everton's just been lowered to an easier difficulty. But yeah, they do change it throughout the season. Against Norwich is a must-win. If they don't play Wilson and lose, fans will go crazy. That's true, but I don't know. I think Bournemouth are pretty loyal, and I don't think anyone's ever going to turn against Eddie Howe. If it was another club, perhaps... thinking like Man City, right, when they dropped Kevin De Bruyne because they thought they were going to steamroll Norwich, and that blew up in Pep's face. But I feel like Bournemouth fans are a little bit more mellowed. I should get in contact with the lads from Elite FPL. Go on their YouTube live streams and chat about FPL. I guess I'm always up to collaboration. I'm always up to talking with people. I think the issue that I've got, James, is time. Time zone, not just time as in my free time, it's time zones. If people are going to stream, say, Sunday night UK time, that's like 4 a.m. my time, and I can't obviously do that. Give you in your team: Pope, yep, Tier, yep, Otamendi, Sancho, Sterling, Maddison, De Bruyne, Mount, Vardy, Firmino, Pukki. I think that's rock solid. The only problem, Kifian, is what differentials have you got? Now, I've mentioned this before on videos about compound differentials. I think it's something that Fantasy Football Scout have mentioned before. It's the idea that a lot of people own Salah, quite a lot of people own Mane, but not many people own both. Same with Mount and Abraham. A lot own Mount, a lot own... I think Abraham's the most owned striker now, like 45%, I think it was when I checked it last time. 43%. But actually not that many people own both. But I don't really see any like compound differentials either in your team. It just feels like Maddison, I think, is your lowest owned player there. Maybe, I think Vardy's only like 10%, so maybe that's something. But it looks good, but obviously no Sterling, no Salah, so that's why it's a better balanced squad. But it seems like this year, having Salah and Sterling, like I thought, isn't the way to go. You bought Hudson-Odoi. Actually, that was a plan. So if I just fill out the team that I was going to do, Mahrez, if I take out these three, that is actually something that I can do. I'm not going to do it immediately because it would give me a big points deduction. So obviously I'm not going to do that. Then we've got Mane and KDB, and this would put me on 0.1. So that is my aim in the next 2 to 3 weeks to go towards, and I think that's a pretty sweet looking side. If I can't do that, if I change, the main point as well is if I don't do that, I can still do Mane, KDB in for Morris and Sterling, and then Callum Wilson to Vardy. So that'll keep me 3-5-2. But then it does keep me with Cantwell, and I don't know how I feel about that at the minute. We'll see. Wilson trolls you all the time. He's known as the troll. I think always cheating, the lads who do the podcast, they call him the truth now. Because, he keeps returning and stuff. But is it FPL General on Twitter has always had some kind of terrible luck and history with Wilson. So, he's always been fine for me. The issue is Abraham's in top form. Wilson's in good form, but Abraham's in top form. And he's at home, and I think he's top. He's joint top or top for like shots in the box and shots on target. Not shots on target, shots in the box, big chances. Something like that. But the thing that puts me off Tammy Abraham is if you watch that home game against Brighton, he had so many chances and he blanked. Is that a positive because he's getting the chances, or is it a negative because he's missing them? Whereas Callum Wilson is the complete opposite. He's having half the amount of chances but just converting them. I just feel, I don't know, I think a lot of people are going to captain Tammy, and I don't want to fall into a trap where I captain him as well and I'm back to square one. I'm not going to really rise. I could do, maybe not many, maybe not that many people are going to captain him. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's a really, really difficult call. I just cannot ignore Callum Wilson at home against a Norwich defence that conceded 5. But the international break came at the worst time because now Norwich might have, recuperated a little bit after that loss. And, they're not going to lose every away game this season. This might be the one game where they clinch it 1-0 or something horrible. I hope not, but we'll see how it is. Still back in for captain as well. All right, Chris, let's do this together. Lingard might be injured. That's another injury. Oh, you're in Vietnam, Chris? Yeah, Taiwan for the last 7 years. High school teacher. And I'm settled. I've had a few people that have lived and worked in Vietnam, so it's quite nice. But maybe not long term. Just try to win your mini leagues. Yeah, I think that's sometimes it. Like, realistically, one person wins the whole FPL. And, of course, anyone can still win it. And 1.7 million, I ain't going to win it this year. So my aim is to just still aim for the top 200k. That's the thing that I'm setting right now. I don't want to say top 50k. I think maybe even that's out of reach, but we'll see. What are the positive negatives to captain Mane, Mount, or De Bruyne? Okay. Triple captain Lingard. Jesus Christ, no. So Josh is going for De Bruyne. All right, pros and cons, Mane. First, history, like I mentioned earlier, Klopp and Liverpool, not won at Old Trafford. I think that's the only negative. I think Mane can score against anyone. And United, we've already talked about the players that aren't going to play at Manchester United. I think there's already rumours of, what's his name? Allegrini, the Italian manager, the one who was, I think was at Juve. There's already talk of him coming in for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Negatives for Mount is he's young. He could get rotated out. It is a possibility. I mean, he looks pretty set on. Newcastle did win 1-0 away at Spurs, and they did beat Manchester United 1-0 as well in the last game. So Newcastle are going to go and they're going to shut up shop. Brighton, the likes of Brighton, are now trying to play open attacking football. But Newcastle's going to, like Sheffield United did against Liverpool, Newcastle's going to go there against Chelsea and just shut up shop and just waste time. And we don't know if Chelsea's going to break that down. If we think of the games Chelsea's had so far, United beat them convincingly. Leicester don't play behind the ball. Norwich, as poor as they are defensively, they always try to attack. Sheffield United, again, I said they try to shut up shop, catch you on the counter, and 2-2. Wolves, they won 5-2, but Wolves at that point were having that European hangover. Liverpool, of course, they come out to attack. Brighton come out to attack, and Southampton, probably the quality there, but they were at home and they were broken down. But Newcastle know pre-game they're going to Stamford Bridge against the Chelsea side in good form. I'm thinking that they're going to shut up, try and park the bus, and that might frustrate Mount. De Bruyne, negatives, you're looking at, he's back from injury, he's still flagged in the game. Even if Pep says, yeah, he's fit and ready to go, he could get injured again. He could re-pull it, right? We don't, with a strain like that, or a rip or a tear, you don't really know how it is until you go in at 100%. And it could just be one minor thing that just takes him out for another 2 to 3 weeks again. So, by the sounds of it, I would actually say Mane. And that's just being safe. I think Kevin De Bruyne has possibly the highest here, but I still think Mane's got, I'd say Mane. That'd be my option. Allegri, yeah, I knew it was. Kind of. Mings, Odoi, De Bruyne, Salah, Sterling, Mount, Pukki, Abraham. Josh, I still think that's a solid team. Like, Pukki against Bournemouth's defence. I wouldn't be sad about it. I just wanted to have Wilson against Norwich's defence rather than Pukki against Bournemouth. But they're going to concede chances. So it is more than possible that Pukki's going to get something from the game. The rest, I think, is fine. Mings, I don't know. I still avoid newly promoted teams. I know we've all got Lundstrom, of course. We've got Lundstrom as a midfielder playing in defence, and Sheffield United doing well. Cantwell, again, he's 4.9 million. He's an enabler. But in terms of like starting likes of Mings as a defender, I don't know. I'm not sold on it. I'm not sold on Villa. Brighton, I mean, he could get something. But I think it's solid. I don't think it's terrible. Plans for Liverpool's good fixture run from game week 39 onwards. Is Mane and Salah double up worth it if Sterling dies off? I've already said, Chris, that I'm doing Sterling to Mane. I love the idea of having Salah and Mane as my two players. I'm not that bothered about Sterling. He's pushed out too wide. City, without a solid defence, look pretty vulnerable. If KDB's ever out, like when KDB was out and they won the league, they'd already made a plan and got used to not playing with him and played a certain way. Now he's back and they rely on his style of play, his control in the tempo and his ball and his positioning. Now when he's out, they don't have that plan B again. They can't just go back to, do you remember how we used to play without Kevin De Bruyne? Because obviously on the training ground for the last 6 to 8 months, they've been doing it like with Kevin De Bruyne. So I feel that is a genuine issue. De Bruyne is not yellow flagged. Yes, he is. That, my friend, is a yellow flag over here. But maybe it's just not updated. Maybe Pep's just come out and said, yeah, 100%, he will 100% play. But there's no way that Pep Guardiola's just done that. You're going to keep him in for the next game week because he has a decent vision and putting in. Oh, so, okay, you've got Sancho on the bench. You don't fancy Leicester at home to Burnley over Brighton and Villa? I mean, it's up to you. Burnley is a stubborn opposition, so I imagine it's not going to be the easiest. Sterling's next 3 fixtures are good. Let's not forget to find form. Yeah, that's the thing, Chris. That's the only thing that puts me off about the Mane move. I'm not convinced that this is a difficult fixture run for Liverpool. I think they're completely fine. United, not a big worry. Spurs at home right now, not a big worry. Villa away, can do it. City at home, not ideal, but fine. And then it's easy for Liverpool after that. But you're right. Villa and Southampton, Palace, Villa, Southampton. If you'd have shown me this 9, 10, 11 game week right at the start of the season, I'd have said, right, I'm captaining Raheem Sterling for those 3 game weeks. The issue is I've captained him for the last 4 weeks and he's done nothing. So it is possible that I keep Raheem until that Liverpool game and then swap him out. But if he does nothing against Palace and then nothing against Aston Villa, then he might make that move in game week 11. It's not definite. I'm just thinking in the future I do want Mane over Sterling, and I don't know if I want to do the sideways move of Salah to Mane. I'd prefer to have both of them. You still trust Pukki? He scored 2 in the international break, but wasn't it against like Armenia? I mean, no disrespect to Armenia, but you know who the centre halves, who the central defenders for Armenia, or whoever it was he scored against. But I already said for his price, if you got Pukki, I think our Pukki is like 6.7 million. He's well worth that price. It's just that I'm not playing 3 attack. If I had 3 attackers, then he would be in that front 3. I just played 2, and I want Wilson Abraham. I think that's the deadly duo for a while. Looks pretty yellow to me. Or do you think he'll play? I think he will play. I'm just not too sure if he's going to come back straight into that hot form or if he's not going to re-pull it. Not on yours. Have you refreshed? I'll refresh it now. Okay, so it's gone now. But, I mean, I started the stream 36 minutes ago and I had changed it. So he must have just done that in the last, 10 minutes or so. But it is a possibility. No, oh, you're not got to ensure you'll transfer him in. I don't like doing defensive transfers. I've got this defense I've had for a few weeks now, and I don't see myself change it for a while. Probably even until a wild card. I mean, Otamendi might go out, but yeah, I think I don't like making defensive transfers. Saying, but I know if the money is to swap Salah for Sterling, you'd regret it in a way to transfer. Yeah, and again, on paper, Liverpool's fixtures aren't that easy, but Sterling's form, if you take out that 20-point haul in game week 1 and just look at 7 game weeks, he's got 3 returns in 7 game weeks, including a dropped game in a game where Man City won 8-0, and if he'd have been playing, he would have scored at least a goal, or got like 2 assists, right? But you're looking at it in 7 game weeks, he's been dropped, and he only got something in the first 3 game weeks. In the last 5, he's only got 1 goal, no assists in 5 game weeks. For a 12.1 million midfielder, the second most expensive player in the game, it's not good enough. But just like I was saying earlier, you don't always look at the past, you look at the future potential points. So don't hold a grudge on a player, it's pointless. Don't even think, oh, he's posting good stats or his stats are going down or whatever. You got to sort of believe in the player, and is he going to come back? And I think he is going to come back. That's why I'm not in a massive rush to take him out for Mane. But gets to a certain point where it's not patience anymore and it's madness, and you're keeping hold of a player because he's 12 million, not because he's a good player, but because you think, well, he's 12 million, he's surely got to do something in the future. He could go on and just score 5 goals, 6 goals all season. Like, there's nothing to determine that he will be right at the top. He should be, that's why he is 12 million, and he is a top quality player. But right now, when you're looking at the last 5 game weeks and he scored 1 goal and no assists, and he's playing so far on the wing, it's difficult to not look at Mane, who's looking absolutely dangerous. He's the second best scorer in the game so far. He's got 57 behind, 5 behind Kevin De Bruyne, and he didn't play game week 1. And I'm not comparing him to De Bruyne, I'm comparing him to Salah and Sterling. So Sterling is doing an explosion base. He's due a hat trick. I mean, he's probably going to play Villa and score 4. Or he's going to wait until the week I've transferred him out and then he's going to bang. Because that's it. That's what Sterling does to all of us. That's what Man City assets always do to me, except Kevin De Bruyne. Aguero I used to have the season before last. For all the other seasons before, he was always good. But, you know, getting dropped or subbed off early is something that he always does. Yeah, no worries. No worries, Chris. You're actually addicted to transfers. 850k is not too far. I'm not going to be worried about rank until about halfway through the season. I can't remember the website, but you can see a website where it tells you how far you're off points-wise from, like, you know, top 500k, top 250k, top 100k, and so on. And I think I'm probably, like, I don't know, 100 points behind the world leader right now. And I mean, it sounds like it's a lot, but you could. That's why it's key to have quite a few differentials in your side. So if I'm captaining Callum Wilson and barely anyone else is, or we have a really weird game week like last game week where pretty much every premium except Mane blanked, that's like you can pull 50 points on everyone, and that's like half of getting up to number 1 kind of thing. So still really close. It feels like a really weird close FPL season this year. Like, it feels like every logical move people are making is not working. I believe, I saw again on Twitter, I saw a thread about what 3 combination assets of Liverpool have been the best points and points per million so far this season. And I think it's VVD, Matip, and Firmino. It's a really weird combination of 3 players who have the best points per, and the second worst combination of 3 Liverpool assets is the most expensive. Again, I'm going to see if I can find it because I did retweet that thread and it was very interesting. Was it this one? Tell you about the list. Here we go. Yeah, so it was Gareth Marshall at FPL Brit. And here he's talking, so points per million. So Matip is actually the best Liverpool asset in terms of points per million so far this season. So you can see the best combinations of triple Liverpool assets for points per million this season. Alexander-Arnold, Virgil van Dijk and Matip. Triple Liverpool defence has been the most rewarding points per million so far this season. Then it's Firmino, TAA, Matip. It's madness as a points per million. So maybe Mane, TAA, Matip is the best. I know it's down there in fourth, but the amount of points in general, so you can see the most points scored has been number 4. So 130 points from Mane, TAA and Matip. That's 22 million and that's 5.41 points per million. But then you go to the worst. Salah, Firmino, Robbo. That's got 136 points, but it's cost you 29 million. 6 million more. Sorry, 7 million more than that fourth option. Salah, Mane, Firmino would have got you 160, but that's that's 11.5 million more. So even though they would have got you 160 points, that damage of value would have crippled the rest of your team, basically. So Otamendi could be at risk when Stones is back. I still don't think Pep trusts Stones completely. And he's back from a longer injury. And Otamendi was next to Laporte. Let's not forget that Fernandinho was the first one to go. Like when Laporte went out, at first when Laporte was fit, it was Otamendi, Laporte. And then when Laporte was out, wasn't it Stones and Otamendi? So I still think Otamendi's the number one choice there. I think Otamendi's still up there. I know Otamendi was awful against Wolves. I know Jimenez sat him down and he sent him to the shops and he made a fool of him. But I still think Otamendi is the first choice there. You're a wild card. Wolves fan, you're watching it to apart. Yeah, I watched the game as well. It was so weird. In the UK, the City Wolves game wasn't on. It was the United Newcastle, I think, was on TV instead. So I'm there watching Man City Wolves, watching, Jimenez get 2 assists and Adama Traore scoring 2 goals. Like, he's not scored in like 2 years or something, right? So we're watching the City game, and then you've got everyone else watching, I think it was the United Newcastle game, which was a stunning 1-0. You think of changing the game for Madison? Yeah, I would, Kunal, but I mean, they're two different prices, right? Who you're sacrificing for that monetary gain? Because isn't McGinn like 5.7 and Madison's like 7.2? So, yeah, if you can make that change, that's fantastic. But where are you getting the money from? You don't think Madison will be too consistent? You get Vardy. A lot of people saying Vardy or Madison. Again, I don't know why. I should be scared of Leicester. But from what I've seen, I'm not. They're not. The mid-table in terms of all the stats they're posting and the chances they're creating and how many they're creating and the quality of chances they're creating. So I'm not 100% sold on Leicester so far. I'm more leaning towards, Chelsea assets right now. Captain Aubameyang or Abraham. You mentioned it before. I'd go Abraham. He's my vice captain. Callum Wilson is my captain. I'm thinking 13% ownership. Not many people are going to captain him. Tammy's 43% ownership. The thing that worries me here is that if 43% own him and a lot of them captain him and he does something and Wilson doesn't, that is going to hurt. That is going to hurt a lot. But if Abraham gets less than Wilson, that's going to shoot me up massively, like 700,000 places or something stupid. Unless the rest of my team completely screw up. I suppose you think you might double up on Liverpool defence from Gameweek 13 instead of making room. Okay. But I mean, we're still expecting Liverpool and clean sheets to come good. I honestly am also thinking of the idea of Otamendi to Robertson and having TAA, Robertson and Salah. even though I really want Mane, I just think that that kind of move. So I don't think I can afford it though. I'd have to wiggle around some other money, or I would have to lose Sterling. 6.3. I'd have to get 0.5 from somewhere, and I don't think that's going to be possible unless I do Sterling to. I can't do Sterling to Mane. But I do think that if you're not as scared about not having Salah or Mane, I think Robbo, TAA, and a Liverpool attacker is pretty dangerous. I had Firmino. I had him for a couple of weeks, and he did absolutely nothing for me. But I still think he's probably my favourite Premier League player. He's so nice to watch. But it's that story with him. FPL wise, he's not always there. He's always willing to lay it off. The 2 weeks I had him, and in those two games against, was it Sheffield United and was that Leicester? Was it Leicester and Sheffield United? In those games when Firmino played, like, he laid it off. He kept trying to lay it off. He had two golden chances against Sheffield United, and one of them he just took a touch, and then instead he played it into Mane. Thinking, just shoot. Sometimes, Bobby, it's fine. It's fine for you to be a little bit greedy. I mean, look at Salah and Mane. They're greedy. You can have one shot inside the box. They're not going to kill you. Or Mane might. You know what he gets like when no one passes to him. But you're worried about not having a Liverpool attacker, so you got Firmino. Is that a good move? He always seems to score an assist. So I've talked about Firmino. He has actually done really well. I mean, I think he is still up there in terms of points. Yeah, you can see he's not doing terribly. 48 points. He's in the top 10. He's above Vardy and Kane in terms of points. I know obviously he's more expensive, but he's not shaming himself. And he usually does well against the top 6. Usually Salah's not good against the top 6, and Firmino is. So I would not be against having him. If you can't have... And it gives you that Liverpool coverage, that Liverpool attacking coverage. So... I don't think... I had Firmino. Like I said, I just took him out because I wanted Wilson and Abraham. And I needed the money to get KDB back. So with those stats, should we look at bringing in a Lover defender after game week 12? So like I mentioned, I don't know. For me, I'd have to jiggle some money about. I don't want to lose Salah. I like the idea of having both Liverpool fullbacks. I think a lot of people did before the season, and they've been put off it. That could be a good... From game week 12, from those fixtures that they get, this run here from 13 to... Well, they've got no game there. 13 to 17. If they're getting clean sheets, and TAA and Robertson are getting those attacking returns... And you're looking at 16 to 20 points a game each. Total from two defenders. That's pretty sweet. But then again, you're not going to think like I'm thinking. TAA, Salah, Mane. Think of the points that they're going to score in those games. Because I still think going cheap at the back, it seems to be working. Pereira for Dean. People have been saying that, even though he's at the top, let's not forget, for the first, 5 game weeks, Vestergaard was the best defender in FPL. So, I mean, again, Leicester have got the fixtures, and they do have and Pereira is the top point scorer. But I would actually be looking at Aspilicueta and Alonso. The problem with Alonso is Emerson's almost back, right? But for cheaper, so I think is Pereira 6.3, 6.2. So Alonso's 6.3. Aspilicueta is 5.9. If you've got Abraham and Mount, and instead of Tomori, who could get dropped and he's not really going to get you any attacking returns, and they should get a couple of clean sheets here. Alonso is an FPL legend, basically. This game, this year's been dropped, but Emerson's got injured and he's looked dangerous. He's almost scored. He's already got a few returns in the games that he's played. You can see there, clean sheet against Brighton, and so he's played 4 here. He's got 2 assists and a clean sheet. So if you wipe out that 1 minute, 1 point he played against Norwich, In the 4 games that he has properly played, he's got 4-1-5-5. Now, again, if you're going to get Pereira, that's fine. But if you look at these fixtures as well, I think that Chelsea have easier fixtures than Leicester. I think they are in just slightly better form. Keep an eye on Emerson coming back. If you're worried about that, then just go for Aspilicueta because he always plays. But Alonso for 6.2, Pereira for 6.2. If you've got that money, then that is a possibility. Tavo to Robertson, TA, Salah, Robbo. Yeah, well, I mentioned that would be nice, but I'm probably going to go the Salah Mane route. Because I can afford it. And that means I can change Cantwell into a 6 million or just keep Cantwell and rotate with Rico and Lundstram and upgrade Wilson to Vardy. Or if Chelsea go on some horrible run, I can upgrade Mount to the likes of Madison. So it's possible. Can you play Lundstram versus Aubameyang? But the thing is, he plays midfield. So Lundstram could get an attacking return. I mean, did you see that pass against Everton? Oh, I still think about it. That through ball to, what's it called? Musan? Is it Muse? The striker that they got from Bournemouth. I mean, it was just absolutely sublime. That pass for that second assist. So, yeah, it's not ideal, but Lundstram has arguably the highest potential for attacking returns of any defender because he plays centre mid. You've got TA and Mane looking to get Matip in for game week 13. Okay. That's another idea that I could do. I could do Otamendi to Matip. Excuse me. In fact, are they the same price? 5.5 Otamendi. How much is Matip? $5.5. He's got a yellow flag though, unless I've not refreshed it again. So that is actually a move that I could make as well. But I mean, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just, if I'm going into game weeks and I've got KDB, Salah, Mane, I'm pretty happy. I'm not scared anymore of life. Do we know if any more teams will blank in game week 18? No, I don't believe so yet, because we've not started the FA Cup yet, right? And with the Champions League, we don't know who's going to get knocked out and all that lot. Yeah, Ben Crellin is the blank and double game week guru. Let's see if... sorry if I've just... Ben Dinner is the injury guy. Ben Crellin, he's the guy, yeah. Ben Dinnery, he's the guy who is like an expert on who's injured, basically. So definitely he's someone worth giving a follow. And Ben Crellin is the... I make spreadsheets to help people navigate the FPL schedule. So he's the blank and double game week god. So definitely check them out on Twitter, because I'll guide you through the right way. Correction, Alonso was an FPL engine. Well, I've just explained, last 4 game weeks, he's right up there. This is something actually my friend showed me about the top 5 for every position. But actually, it's pointless because we can just check that. But see Aspilicueta's up there. These are stats taken from WhoScored.com, looking at the best 5 players for every position. So this isn't defenders in general, this is actual position. So you can see Aspilicueta is there, 5th, Gilbert, Wan-Bissaka. Pereira's unsurprisingly they're the best right back, but Matip number 1, like I mentioned earlier in those the combinations of the 3 Liverpool assets, he's right there. Tomori surprisingly in 4th there. Left back, see Alonso already, he's only played 4 games and he's 4th. Rico, he's got 2 assists, but I believe that he's been doing a lot of crosses in the box. Defensive midfielders we don't need to talk about. John McGinn there, top for centre mids. De Bruyne, Madison, Mount, and Mahrez. You can see that's why I brought Mahrez in. That is why I was interested in Mahrez against Wolves, and it just went all wrong. That could have been wonderful. And you can see Traore jumped straight in there with those 2 goals. El Ghazi, he was my differential I suggested for this game week if you watched the YouTube video. Sterling still number 1. That's just ridiculous. But he's not doing it in FPL wise. And Aguero up there. Bobby Firmino in number 2. So I don't know, I disagree with some of those. But they're the actual stats, not FPL wise. But usually the stats do convert into FPL points, but not always. So for example, I was explaining to my friend earlier, the likes of Kante. Kante is a world class. I mean, I know he scored a couple of goals this season, a couple of nice goals, but the likes of Kante, he is a world class player. He could walk into any side. He is arguably the best ball winning midfielder in the world. He just never stops. There are so many memes about how much Kante runs. And in FPL, he's like 5 million and no one touches him because those stats that he posts means nothing because you don't get points for interceptions or blocks or hockey assists, right? Assist of the assist. So, yeah, that's something. All right, I think I'm going to leave it there, guys, because it's 10:15 here and I need to sort myself out because I'm up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. The school anniversary for a few hours. So thanks for jumping in. I'm hoping that I'll do this again next week around the same time. Keep your eyes out on the channel for the Tuesday. Usually Tuesday or a Wednesday is when the review and the upcoming week's preview is coming out. Hopefully you guys will watch that. Maybe like and subscribe to the video. That'd be great as well. Hopefully we're going to do well this game week. I need to see a green arrow soon because this is just so disheartening when I've got the ideas and I make the suggestions and it doesn't pan out for my own side. So all right, thanks a lot. Catch you next time as well. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for popping in as well. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a good weekend. And a lot of games on tomorrow as well. So I'm probably going to do the Match of the Day challenge. I'm probably not going to watch any of the football. And I'm going to watch Match of the Day on Sunday. So hope you have a good weekend. And catch you later. Bye-bye.